Clash of Clans may seem like an innocent mobile game that is just fun to play. However, there is a deep and complex psychology behind everything in the game that forces you to have fun or forces you to spend your money or use a certain troop or just various other things. And today we'll be exploring all of those, so let's get right into it. First of all, we have variable ratio reinforcement, and this refers to the loot that you get in the game because it comes in random intervals and there's no way to truly predict how much you're going to get at a certain time. This comes in the form of different bases having different amounts of loot available, your war win bonus being different each war, the loot in your loot cart, the gems that you get from removing obstacles, and I could just go on and on. But what the psychological trick does is just help make the game less boring and less repetitive, and it just keeps you engaged as you have to continuously look out for the loot amount versus you already knowing what to expect and just zoning out. You just end up staying more alert this way, and that means you're more likely to enjoy the game more and keep coming back. But the next psychological trick is just progress visualization. Now this one is pretty obvious, and it is just you being able to see the progress on your village by seeing it progress and just change shape and colors as everything gets upgraded. The biggest part of all of this are the walls, since they are what tend to stand out the most in a base, and they are often the biggest indicator of progress. And another major factor is with the colors, since you can see where someone is in the game by quickly glancing at their base and seeing what the colors look like, because town halls are mostly color coded. Being able to visually see your village get better over time just provides a sense of achievement to you and gives you a better connection with the game, and that makes things feel more rewarding and also is most likely to keep you playing the game longer. And another thing that helps with a deeper connection to the game is the clans, which is the next psychological element, and this actually does two things. First of all, being a part of a clan gives you a feeling of responsibility, as you now feel obligated to maintain some sort of standard in order to make the people in your clan happy, and this makes you spend more time on the game, and things like the clan wars, clan capital, clan games, and clan war leagues just keep on bringing you back to the game because you have a sense of responsibility to participate and help your clan. And the second thing that the clans do is create competition through things like the clan wars, and this just makes you want to try even harder at the game in order to come out on top and to actually go and win. And this may mean you play the game extra in order to do some practice attacks, or you're just talking through your plan with their clan in the clan chat. This competitiveness just brings players back to the game and makes them want to do better, which is what keeps them playing the game longer. And so far, we have seen that these psychological elements and game design are really just there to try and get you to keep coming back to the game, and that is important because players are more likely to spend money the longer they play a game, and a lot of people will end up spending money after playing the game for at least a year or two. And by that point, you become a profit for the company because otherwise you're just costing them money. And let's see if the pattern continues with the other psychological elements we'll be going over, with the next one being delayed gratification. Now, this is just with all the things that have timers in the game, so basically training your army and upgrading your buildings. After pressing the button, it takes a set amount of time for you to actually see the result, and that is delayed gratification. You don't get to see something upgraded right after pressing a button unless you're using a book or a hammer, but that is way less often and is more so like a reward, which also just helps keep you playing the game longer. But with delayed gratification, it keeps you coming back to the game since you want to come back and see the result, whether it be just you using your army to attack or seeing the defenses get upgraded. This delayed gratification is a really powerful psychological element that you don't really think about, but is a major reason as to why you are still playing the game. But another similar element related to the time is FOMO, which stands for fear of missing out. Now, this is something that Supercell has really doubled down on recently with all the special events, since these are limited and they incentivize you to come and enjoy the game while the event is going on, so you don't end up missing out on the new limited thing that may never come back. And a big part of this is with the hero equipment, since most of these events are the only way to get a piece of equipment for free, since if you miss it, then you'll be forced to buy for 1500 gems, which is just a lot and not something most people can actually afford. And on top of the events, there are also many limited time offers in the shop that are available for you to purchase, and these just create a sense of urgency and are really effective at getting people to buy the offers. And this is also something that kind of fits in with the Gold Pass and Event Pass, since every day that you don't buy it, you're just missing out on the boosted rates and benefits that you would get, and this is usually what tips people over into buying the pass if they were on the fence about it. But the next psychological element is just cognitive engagement. This game constantly requires you to think and stay engaged, and it isn't just one of those games that you can mindlessly play the same way you can mindlessly scroll on TikTok or something. Instead, with Clash of Clans, your actions really have to be deliberate and you have to constantly be thinking, and this is done through many ways. First of all, you have the attacks in the game which require the most amount of thinking unless you are just spamming lots of dragons or something. But with most attacks, you really have to make sure you get the timing right when placing troops and make sure you use your spells properly, and also react to enemy clan castle troops or traps if there's a big problem with them. And with the hero equipment, you also have to pay more attention to the heroes as their abilities are now a lot more complex than before, and you can't always rely on them automatically using the abilities when they're getting low. And then you also just have the whole resource management side of things, where you have to think about what resources you have and what you can upgrade and what the best way would be to upgrade your defenses the most efficiently. And this comes with making calculations with predicting how many resources you're going to have at any certain time. And this also brings us back to the first psychological element, since you don't have a guaranteed way of knowing how many resources you're going to have, which just means you have to think more and make educated guesses. This all just really keeps you engaged even if you don't realize it, since you make a lot of these calculations in the background and you don't always think about it. But the next psychological element is with all the emotional triggers that this game has. For example, you have the sound of you collecting all your resources when you start up the game, and this is a pleasant and satisfying sound that already makes you happy before you really even did anything in the game, and this just improves your mood and makes you excited every time you open the game. And then you also just have all the graphics with you getting 3 stars that makes you happy as well. And the thing with these emotional triggers is that they more so happen in the background. Like, you may not visibly be happy or even think of it when you 3-star a base, but it is just something that happens in the background and affects you without you realizing. And on the opposite end, you also have the more negative emotions that come with maybe failing an attack or only getting 1 star. And the game is designed to just make you feel not as bad about this, and instead it motivates you to try and do better. And that just keeps you coming back to the game, and it shows how both good and bad things keep you coming back to the game, as you just either want to continue doing good or try to improve in order to do good. And Clash of Clans just does great at pushing this through the game design. But another psychological element is the personalization in the game. Inside of Clash of Clans, you can really design your base in whatever way you want, and there are many skins available for your heroes that just make them feel more unique, as well as different sceneries and decorations. All of this stuff gives a very personal feel to the game, it gets people connected emotionally to their base, and it just drives them to want to make the base better and just upgrade it, and that really helps out. If the game was the same for everyone and there was only like one base design and you had to upgrade everything in a certain order, then the game would just be nowhere near as popular or loved. But now let's move on to the final psychological element, and that is the whole learning and progression curve in the game. This starts off kind of fast as you progress through town halls fast and learn all different types of troops and steal out of the standard defenses, but when it comes closer towards like the middle of the game, then that is where you really start seeing things just get more complex, and it just gets harder and harder the higher up you go. This is good for engagement as the progression in the game isn't exactly linear, and that keeps it interesting and also gives a lot for the players to learn. This gets people more dedicated to the game and just keeps them playing longer, and also increases their chances of spending money as they would want to progress faster. And overall, those were really like the main psychological elements behind Clash of Clans that just make it a success, and you can see how the main theme is that the whole purpose is to keep people playing longer, as that typically leads to them spending money on the game. But that's also it for this video. I really do hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you all in the next one.